I thought I would go out on a limb and say, so a lot of people ask me and question, so what were they doing in those virology labs? Where did all that millions and billions, I don't know how much money, go to, was funding this gain of function research? And then, of course, comes the theories. Well, it may not be a virus. It may be a, quote, infectious pathogen. So that's a clever way of saying it's not a virus. We have no idea what we're talking about. So let's call it an infectious pathogen, or let's call it an infectious cDNA clone, or let's call it something that doesn't exist or has never been shown to exist, so that we can not use the word virus and get those Cowan guys all over our butt because we know that the viruses don't exist. So it must be an infectious pathogen or an infectious clone, even though we can't tell you what that is, and we have never found it in anybody, and we've never shown that it exists in a real person or shown that it's infectious in any way. But never mind, at least we're meeting them halfway, which doesn't seem like any way to me, because 3 years later, if you're not willing to sit down and say to your scientific team, I need to know how they figured out this virus exists, and I need to know it right now, because this is the heart of this whole fraud and scam. If you're a leader of one of these organizations and you're putting out documentary films on the pandemic, and you're leading organizations which are fighting this so-called pandemic, if it was me, I would sit down with my science team and say, you need to tell me right now how they found this virus, how they proved it exists, what you mean by an infectious clone, what you mean by an infectious pathogen, or I'm blowing the whistle on the whole thing, because it's obvious that this is the root of the fraud. And without knowing this, we can't get anywhere.